Ladies and gentlemen, buffer zones, as you know, exist in war zones. They exist between enemy nations. Anyone crossing the buffer zone is identified as a foe and shot dead. Now imagine that in India, a state in India, two communities have such distrust of each other that there is a buffer zone between them. And if anyone, by mistake, enters that zone, he or she is beaten to death. This is where Manipur stands right now. A state on slow burn where no one is spared. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to show you the picture of a man. The man on your screens is an ex-Indian Army soldier, an ex-Fauji. Havaldar Mate, a resident of Imphal, left his home for some hardware shopping last evening. This morning, his body was recovered from the quote-unquote buffer zone between Kukkis and Metis settlements in the city. Turns out, he had by mistake ventured into this buffer zone and he had been beaten to death. Ladies and gentlemen, can you imagine this? One Indian beaten by a mob of Indians for entering a piece of land in India. Don't let anyone tell you for a moment that things are normal in Manipur. They are not by any stretch of imagination. This is the 7th death in Manipur in the last 7 days. This is the 236th death in the last 16 months in the state. Drones and missiles have made an entry into battle zone Manipur. There are military helicopters that are on surveillance. And escalation is imminent. There were major protests in Manipur today, this time by students demanding the resignation of the state DGP and the security advisor. The chief minister met them, but failed to convince them. So the students marched to the governor's house, en route clashing with police, who used tear gas shells and lathi charged them to disperse them. My colleague Priyank was there. This is the report he sent us earlier today.
The students have totally captured the roads which is leading towards the Raj Bhavan. We are standing outside the Raj Bhavan where the hundreds of students have come here. And what they are also doing that they are pushing back the forces. We have seen that the CRPF and the S.Paongam which was attempting to clear this particular stretch of road. This is the main intersection of Imphal, right outside the Raj Bhavan's gate number 1. They have a call for a ban. Colleges and schools are not working. While talking about the demand, they have been demanding that the paramilitary forces should go back. They have also demanded that DGP should resign because for the forces, what they're saying that forces are mute spectators. That's why they should go back to the respective area. Let's talk to a few of the students. You have come here. What is the reason why it was necessary for the students finally to come on the road?
It's because of the war doing now Kuki and Mete. It's not between the Kuki and Mete. It's between other country and Indian. Manipur is a part of India, but it has been attacked by drone bombing. We have already seen, but the central government did not see. Why? Still, they are silent. Why they are still silent?
Students are very much agitated, and what they are saying that this is a war which is not in between two ethnic communities. This is a war which is happening and which is also being fueled from the other side. Yesterday, when the chief minister came here and he gave a memorandum, one of the major point he had also raised that there should be fencing on the Indo-Myanmar border because time and again the militants who are pushed back by the armed forces there in Myanmar enter here and they create nuisance. That's why right outside the Raj Bhavan and the CM's house you can see hundreds and thousands of students who have gathered here.
Chief Minister Biren Singh, under whose watch more than 200 people have been killed in this ethnic clash, which is 16 months old, now is shifting the blame of his failures to how the security apparatus is structured in the state. He has met the governor twice in the last 24 hours, seeking full control of the unified command that coordinates between central and state forces. Currently, it is being headed by a former DG of the CRPF who has been deputed by the centre. Essentially, the CM is saying the guy cannot do anything, he doesn't have any domain knowledge, so give me full control and I will quell this violence. Ladies and gentlemen, these are interesting statements from someone whose son-in-law is on record to say that the centre should remove the army from Manipur as they are mute spectators. It's also interesting in the context that the Manipur police, the force that the state does control, had abandoned 2 women to a mob that stripped and paraded them naked and then gang raped them 16 months ago. So you want the army to go, and you think that a Manipur police that completely failed 16 months ago will do the job now. The Chief Minister also wants the truce pact with tribal militant groups to be annulled so that there can be targeted action against them. As protests continue, the Congress led by Priyanka Gandhi and Mallikarjun Kharge have targeted the Prime Minister, blaming him, saying that his failure in the state is simply unforgivable. Let me go to my guest this evening. YJ Singh is a former Deputy Chief Minister of Manipur. He's also a former DGP of the state, so someone who is well placed to speak to us about the current escalation in violence in the state of Manipur. P.K. Mishra is a former ADG of the BSF. Pratim Ranjan Bose is a senior journalist and a columnist. And Dr. Hoykip is someone who has been with us for the last 16 months, trying to explain to us why we are seeing what we are seeing in Manipur.